Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
The day started like any other in Port Charles, but there was something different in the air, a heavy tension that no one could quite name. Josslyn Jax stood in the kitchen of Carly's house, her phone clutched tightly in her hand, her knuckles white as she scrolled through the latest news alert. Her breath caught when she saw the headline, "New evidence emerges in Cyrus Renault's death." She felt the floor drop beneath her feet. Her secret, the one she'd buried so deep she thought it would never surface, was now threatening to destroy everything. She barely heard Carly calling her name from across the room, her voice sharp with concern. "Joss, honey, what's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost." Joss swallowed hard, trying to steady her voice, but the tremor betrayed her. It's nothing, Mom. Just something stupid online." Carly wasn't buying it. Years of dealing with Sonny, Jason, and the endless chaos of the mob world had taught her to read people, especially her kids. "Don't lie to me," Carly said, stepping closer, her eyes narrowing. "You're pale as a sheet. Tell me what's going on." Joss shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. "Mom, I can't. I promised I'd never." Her voice broke, and she turned away, but Carly wasn't letting go that easily. She grabbed her daughter's arm and spun her around. "You promised who?" "Joss, what did you do?" Before Joss could answer, there was a knock at the door, a firm, authoritative knock that made Carly's stomach twist. When she opened it, Dante Falconeri was standing there, badge visible, his expression grim. "Carly. Josslyn. I need to talk to both of you." Carly immediately went on defense, folding her arms. "If this is about Sonny, Dante, I swear." Dante shook his head. "It's not about Sonny. It's about Cyrus Renault." The name alone sent a chill down Joss's spine. Carly froze, her heart pounding. "Cyrus? What about him?" "He's dead. Has been for months." Dante hesitated before answering, his gaze flicking toward Joss. "We got new evidence, Carly. Evidence that points to your daughter's involvement." The room fell silent, except for the faint ticking of the kitchen clock. Carly blinked, unable to process the words. "That's ridiculous," she snapped. "Joss had nothing to do with Cyrus's death. She's a college student, not a killer." But Joss's trembling hands told a different story. Dante sighed, clearly uncomfortable. "We found security footage from the docks the night Cyrus was killed. It was damaged, but our techs restored enough of it to see Josslyn there. And it looks like she had a weapon." Carly's eyes widened as she turned toward her daughter. "Tell me that's not true. Joss, please tell me this is some kind of mistake." Tears streamed down Joss's face as she whispered, "I didn't mean to, it wasn't supposed to happen." Carly's breath hitched. "Oh my God." Dante stepped forward, his voice soft but firm. "Josslyn Jax, you're under arrest for the murder of Cyrus Renault. You have the right to remain silent." His words blurred as Carly's world collapsed. She lunged forward. "No! Dante, she's just a kid. There has to be some kind of mistake." But Dante continued the Miranda warning as he gently pulled Joss's hands behind her back. Joss sobbed uncontrollably. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to find out like this." Carly's voice broke. "Baby, no, we'll fix this. I'll call Diane. We'll get through this." At the police station, Joss sat in the interrogation room, her wrists still cuffed, eyes red from crying. Carly stood behind the glass, watching helplessly as Dante and Max Scorpio entered the room. Diane Miller soon joined, briefcase in hand, her usual confidence mixed with visible concern. "Joss, don't say a word until I tell you to," Diane said firmly. Dante nodded respectfully. "We just want to understand what happened." The footage shows Josslyn confronting Cyrus on the docks. He's yelling at her about something, about keeping her mouth shut. "What was that about?" Joss looked down, silent. Carly banged on the glass. Don't answer him, Joss. Not without Diane's advice. Diane shot Carly a warning look before turning back to her client. Joss, if there's something you want to say, now's the time. But remember, every word will matter. Joss took a shaky breath. He came after me. He said he'd go after Mom, after Donna, if I didn't do what he said. I was scared. He had a gun. Dante's expression softened. So, you shot him in self-defense? Joss nodded weakly. Yes. But I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted him to stop. Max scribbled something down. Why didn't you call it in? Joss's voice cracked. Because I panicked. And then Mom came, and she stopped herself mid-sentence. Carly's eyes widened behind the glass. Diane raised an eyebrow. And then what, Josslyn? Joss hesitated, her mind racing. Nothing. I just left. I ran. But Dante wasn't convinced. The footage shows someone else arriving after you left. Someone who moved the body. You wouldn't happen to know who that was, would you? Joss looked down again, unable to meet his eyes. Carly's heart was pounding so hard she thought she might pass out. She remembered that night vividly, the phone call from Joss, her panicked voice, the way she'd found Cyrus's lifeless body near the pier. She had covered it up, called in one of Sonny's guys to dispose of the evidence before anyone could connect it back to her daughter. Now, that secret was threatening to destroy them both. Later, as Carly paced outside the interrogation room, Diane emerged, frustration etched across her face. Carly, you need to tell me exactly what happened that night. Carly rubbed her temples. I don't know what you're talking about. Diane's tone hardened. Don't play dumb with me. If there's any chance you tampered with the crime scene, it could make things worse for Joss. Obstruction, evidence tampering, accessory after the fact, the list goes on. Carly's voice cracked. I did what any mother would do. I protected my child. Diane sighed. And now that protection could send both of you to prison. Meanwhile, Dante returned to his desk, uneasy. He had known Joss since she was a little girl, arresting her was the last thing he wanted to do. Sam McCall approached, a sympathetic look on her face. How's Carly holding up? Dante exhaled heavily. She's in full panic mode. Can't say I blame her. The footage looks bad, Sam. But something doesn't sit right with me. Cyrus had enemies everywhere, why would he target Josslyn? Sam frowned. Unless Joss knew something. Maybe about one of his deals? Dante nodded slowly. That's what I'm thinking. But until we get the full story, she's our prime suspect. Back in the cell, Carly was finally allowed to see Joss. She rushed in, pulling her daughter into her arms. We're gonna fix this, baby. I promise. Joss sobbed against her mother's shoulder. Mom, I can't go to prison. I didn't mean to kill him. He was going to hurt you. Carly stroked her hair. I know, sweetheart. I know. But her mind was racing. If the police ever found out about her part in moving the body, everything would unravel. Diane entered quietly. Carly, I just spoke with the DA. They're pushing for a formal charge by tomorrow. Unless we can prove self-defense, Joss is looking at murder too. Carly's jaw clenched. That's not happening. Later that night, Carly made her way to Sonny's penthouse. He was surprised to see her at the door. Carly? What's going on? She didn't even wait to be invited in. It's Joss. She's been arrested for killing Cyrus. Sonny's expression darkened immediately. What? Carly's voice trembled. They found footage. She was defending herself, Sonny. But if they find out I helped cover it up, Sonny cut her off. You did what you had to do. I'll handle this. Carly shook her head. No, Sonny, I don't want you involved. I don't want this tied back to your world. Sonny's eyes softened. Carly, this is already tied to my world. Cyrus was my problem, not hers. At that same moment, Dante was reviewing the full footage again when something caught his attention. A blurred figure stepping into frame after Joss ran off, taller, broader, and unmistakably male. He zoomed in and paused the video. Son of a, he grabbed his phone and called Mac. We've got another player in this. I think I know who moved the body. Back at the station, Dante approached Carly in Joss's holding cell. Carly, I need to ask you something. Where was Sonny the night Cyrus was killed? Carly's eyes widened in shock. You think Sonny had something to do with this? Dante crossed his arms. You tell me. Carly took a deep breath. I don't know. But if he did, it was to protect Joss. Dante nodded slowly. That's what I figured. He turned to leave, but not before glancing back at Joss. For what it's worth, I believe you were scared. But you should have come to me sooner. Joss whispered, I didn't think anyone could help. Dante's expression softened. You're not alone in this, Josslyn. I'll do what I can. As he walked away, Carly collapsed onto the bench beside her daughter, holding her hand tightly. We're going to fight this, no matter what it takes. By morning, Port Charles was buzzing with the news, Josslyn Jax arrested for the murder of Cyrus Renault. Reporters swarmed the courthouse as Carly and Diane escorted Joss inside for her arraignment. Sonny stood in the back, his eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses, watching silently as his family faced the fallout. The judge called the court to order, and the DA announced that the state would pursue second-degree murder charges. Carly gripped Diane's arm, whispering fiercely, We're not letting them do this to her. Diane nodded. Don't worry, Carly. I've beaten tougher cases than this. But we need the truth, all of it. Joss took the stand, voice trembling as she recounted that night. He said he'd hurt my mom. I was scared. I grabbed the gun and fired. I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to stop him. The courtroom murmured, emotions running high. The DA pressed, and yet you didn't call the police afterward, did you? Joss's eyes filled with tears. No. I called my mom. Carly lowered her head, guilt washing over her. The DA smirked. Of course. And what did your mother do then? Before Joss could answer, Diane stood. Objection. Leading the witness. The judge sustained it, but the damage was done. The implication hung heavy in the air. When court adjourned, Carly pulled Joss close. No matter what happens, I've got you. We'll get through this. Joss whispered, I'm sorry, Mom. I ruined everything. Carly shook her head fiercely. You didn't ruin anything. You saved me. Outside the courthouse, Sonny approached quietly. I've got people looking into who leaked that footage. Cyrus's old crew might be behind this. Carly's eyes narrowed. If they did, I'll make them pay. Sonny placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. First, we get Joss home. Then we deal with everything else. As the day ended, Joss sat in her cell, replaying every moment of that night, the fear, the gunshot, the silence after. She whispered to herself, I didn't mean to kill him. Carly, watching through the glass, made a silent vow. No one is taking my daughter away. Not again. Night had fallen over Port Charles, but sleep was the last thing on Carly's mind. She sat alone in the darkened living room of her house, the faint glow of the streetlight flickering through the window. Her hands trembled as she poured herself another cup of coffee she wouldn't drink. Every sound outside made her jump, a car door slamming, footsteps on the sidewalk. She was consumed by paranoia. The image of Josslyn in handcuffs replayed in her head like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. She whispered to herself, I promised I'd protect her. I can't let her pay for this. The front door creaked open, and Sonny stepped inside without knocking. Carly looked up, her eyes red from crying. You shouldn't be here, she said softly. Sonny ignored her warning and closed the door behind him. We both know I should be. I talked to Brick, he's going through all of Cyrus's old surveillance files. Something doesn't add up, Carly. Cyrus had a meeting scheduled that night with someone else, someone who never showed. Carly frowned. What are you saying? Sonny's jaw tightened. I think Joss stumbled into something bigger. Someone set her up. Carly's heart pounded. You think someone wanted her to kill Cyrus? Sonny shook his head. No. I think someone wanted it to look like she did. That thought made Carly's stomach twist. Oh my God. But who would do that? Sonny looked down, conflicted. There's one name that keeps coming up, Mason Gatlin. He was still working under Cyrus, but after Cyrus died, Mason made moves to take over. Maybe he planted the footage, made it look like Joss was guilty. Carly's eyes widened in disbelief. That bastard. Sonny nodded grimly. If I'm right, then this isn't just about Joss, it's about control of Cyrus's old empire. Meanwhile, at the PCPD, Dante sat at his desk staring at the evidence board. Pictures of Cyrus, Josslyn, and the dock crime scene were tacked up with strings connecting them. He rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of the case pressing on him. Sam walked up behind him, holding 2 cups of coffee. You look like you haven't slept in days. Dante accepted the coffee with a weak smile. Thanks. I just can't shake the feeling that we're missing something. Sam looked at the board. You think Joss is innocent? Dante nodded slowly. Yeah. She's scared, sure, but she's not a killer. I've seen real killers, she's not one of them. Sam took a sip of her coffee. So, what's your plan? Dante leaned back in his chair. I'm going to recheck the timeline. Maybe there's someone else who showed up after she left the docks. Someone who had a reason to make Cyrus disappear for good. Sam smirked. You mean besides Sonny? Dante shot her a look. Don't start. I'm trying to keep this professional. She shrugged. Hey, you said it, not me. But deep down, Sam agreed, something about the whole thing felt staged. Back at the police lockup, Joss sat quietly, her hands folded in her lap. Trina Robinson arrived, her face full of concern. The guard hesitated before letting her in. Make it quick. Trina nodded and rushed to Joss's side. Joss, oh my God. Are you okay? Joss tried to smile, but it came out broken. I'm holding it together. Barely. Trina sat down, gripping her hand. I know you didn't kill Cyrus. You could never do something like that. Joss's eyes filled with tears. I swear, Trina, it was an accident. He came after me, I thought he was going to kill me. Trina squeezed her hand tighter. Then you have to keep saying that. Don't give up. Carly arrived moments later, relief flooding her face when she saw her daughter's best friend there. Trina, thank you for being here, Carly said softly. She needs all the support she can get. Trina nodded. Of course. I'll never leave her side. Carly smiled weakly before sitting beside Joss. Sweetheart, Diane's working around the clock. We've got a hearing in the morning. She's confident she can get you released on bail. Joss looked down, her voice small. Even if she does, everyone in Port Charles thinks I'm a murderer. Carly's tone hardened. Then we'll prove them wrong. That same night, Dante went down to the evidence room, unlocking the cabinet that held the recovered footage. He replayed the clip again, eyes narrowing. The timestamp was off by 15 minutes. That's not possible, he muttered. He opened the metadata, someone had tampered with the file. Son of a, he grabbed his phone and called Sam. You were right. The footage was altered. Someone planted this. Sam's voice came through the receiver. So, Joss was framed? Dante nodded, even though she couldn't see him. Looks that way. But the question is, who had access to the footage before it reached us? The next morning, Carly and Diane arrived early at the courthouse. Diane carried a folder thick with documents. I've got the preliminary report from Dante. It confirms the security footage was tampered with. That's our opening, Carly. If we can prove evidence manipulation, we can cast doubt on the entire case. Carly exhaled in relief. So, she'll be free? Diane gave a cautious smile. If the judge buys it, yes. But we're not out of the woods yet. Whoever did this wanted your daughter destroyed. That kind of setup doesn't happen by accident. In the courtroom, the tension was thick enough to choke on. Reporters whispered in the back row, cameras flashing as Josslyn was led in wearing a simple blouse and jeans instead of the prison jumpsuit. Carly caught her daughter's eye and mouthed, "I love you." Joss nodded, blinking back tears. The DA made his opening statement, painting Joss as a young woman pushed to the edge, who took justice into her own hands. Diane countered sharply. The prosecution's entire case rests on manipulated evidence. Footage that was clearly altered, and a story that doesn't add up. The judge leaned forward. "Do you have proof of this claim, Ms. Miller?" Diane smiled confidently. "We do, Your Honor. Detective Falconeri discovered inconsistencies in the timestamp and file integrity. This footage cannot be trusted." The DA's face fell as Dante took the stand to testify. He cleared his throat. "Upon further investigation, I found the footage had been tampered with. It was altered before it reached PCPD custody. Therefore, it cannot be considered reliable evidence." Carly watched with pride and gratitude. Finally, someone was telling the truth. The judge nodded slowly. "Given the circumstances, I'm granting the defense's motion for bail. Ms. Jacks, you are free to go, for now." The gavel came down, and Carly broke into tears of relief as she pulled Joss into her arms. "You're coming home, baby." Outside the courthouse, Sunny approached Dante quietly. "Good work in there." Dante looked uneasy. "Don't thank me yet. Whoever did this still has friends in high places. And I've got a feeling they won't stop until Josslyn pays for something she didn't do." Sunny's eyes darkened. "Then they'll have to go through me first." Carly overheard the exchange and shot Sunny a look. "I told you not to get involved." Sunny met her gaze steadily. "Too late for that." Later that evening, Joss sat on the couch at home, staring out the window. Trina had stayed over, trying to lighten the mood, but Joss was quiet. "You're safe now," Trina said gently. "At least for tonight." Joss shook her head. "Safe? The whole town thinks I'm guilty. Every time I walk outside, people stare. It's like they're waiting for me to confess." Carly, overhearing, came in from the kitchen. "Let them stare. The truth will come out." Joss turned toward her. "What if it doesn't?" Carly knelt beside her. "Then we'll fight until it does. You're my daughter, and I'm not letting anyone take you away." The following day, Dante received a tip from a confidential source. Mason Gatlin had been spotted near the docks the night Cyrus was killed. He immediately called Sunny. "Looks like your theory was right," Dante said. Sunny's tone was grim. "Where is he now?" Dante replied, "We're tracking him, but he's slippery." Sunny exhaled sharply. "I'll find him before he finds Joss." Carly later confronted Sunny. "Don't you dare do anything stupid. If Mason ends up dead, it'll only make things worse." Sunny smirked slightly. "I don't plan on killing him. I just plan on making him talk." Meanwhile, Mason, cornered and desperate, met with an unknown figure in a dark alley. "The plan didn't work," Mason hissed. "The footage didn't stick. Falconeri figured it out." The shadowy figure replied coldly, "Then you know what has to happen. Josslyn Jacks can't walk free." Mason swallowed hard. You want me to finish it? The figure nodded. Do what you have to do. Back at Carly's house, she couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. She double-checked the locks, peering through the curtains. Joss noticed. Mom, you're scaring me. Carly forced a smile. I'm just being careful. But her instincts were screaming, something was coming. Later that night, as thunder rolled across the sky, Carly heard a noise outside. She rushed to the porch, her heart pounding. A car sped off into the darkness. On the ground near the mailbox was an envelope with no return address. She picked it up, hands shaking. Inside was a single photo, Joss at the docks, moments before the shooting, and a message scrawled in black ink, "You can't hide the truth forever." The next morning dawned gray and cold, rain dripping steadily against the windows of Carly's house. She hadn't slept all night. The photograph still lay on the coffee table, its threatening message burned into her mind. When Josslyn came downstairs, her face pale and exhausted, Carly quickly hid the photo behind a stack of papers. "Morning, sweetheart," she said with forced brightness. Joss gave a weak smile. "If you can call it that." "I barely slept." Carly crossed the room and hugged her tightly. "I know, baby. But you're home now. That's what matters." Just then, there was a knock at the door. Carly's heart skipped a beat before she opened it and found Dante standing there, rain dripping off his jacket. "Sorry to bother you so early," he said, stepping inside. "We've got a situation. Someone broke into the PCPD evidence locker last night. The footage from the Cyrus case, it's gone." Carly's stomach dropped. "Gone? As in stolen?" Dante nodded grimly. "Yeah. And whoever did it knew exactly what they were looking for." Joss looked at him, fear flashing in her eyes. "So they're still coming after me?" Dante hesitated. "It looks that way. We're running forensics, but I don't like this. It feels personal." Carly exchanged a worried glance with Dante. "You think Mason Gatlin's behind this, don't you?" Dante sighed. "It's a strong possibility. He's vanished, no sightings, no credit card trail. It's like he disappeared off the map." Carly's tone hardened. "That means he's planning something." Dante nodded. "Which is why I'm assigning an officer to keep an eye on your house until this blows over." Carly frowned. "That won't be necessary." Dante gave her a look. "Yes, it will. Carly, if someone's targeting Joss, she's not safe. Not here, not anywhere." After Dante left, Carly sat at the kitchen table, her mind racing. Joss poured herself a cup of coffee, her hands still shaking. "Mom, what if he's right? What if someone's still out there watching us?" Carly reached across the table, gripping her daughter's hand. "Then they'll have to go through me first." She tried to sound brave, but deep down, she was terrified. For years, Carly had fought enemies, but this was different. This wasn't about Sunny's world or mob rivalries, this was about her daughter, and that made it personal in a way nothing else ever had. That afternoon, Sunny showed up again, his expression tight. "We found something," he said without preamble. Carly motioned for him to come inside. Brick traced a phone call Mason made 2 nights ago to a burner. The signal pinged near an abandoned warehouse on Van Ness Street. Carly's eyes widened. "So he's in Port Charles?" Sunny nodded. "Probably hiding, waiting for orders." Joss overheard them and stood at the doorway. "Orders from who?" Sunny hesitated. "We don't know yet. But someone's pulling the strings." Joss stepped closer, defiant. "Then let me help." Carly immediately shook her head. "Absolutely not. You're not getting anywhere near this." But Joss wasn't backing down. "Mom, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing while everyone else risks their lives to clean up my mess." Carly grabbed her by the shoulders. "It's not your mess, Joss. You did nothing wrong. Her voice cracked, the pain raw. You hear me? You're the victim here. Joss's voice trembled. Then why doesn't it feel that way? Carly pulled her into a fierce hug, whispering, because this town doesn't know the truth yet. But they will. At the PCPD, Dante and Sam pored over the latest intel. Sam pointed to a blurry still image from a nearby security camera. That's Mason's car, she said. He's definitely here. Dante nodded. I'll get a warrant for the warehouse. Sam looked at him, concerned. Be careful, Dante. If Mason's desperate, he's dangerous. He gave her a reassuring smile. I can handle him. Later that evening, Carly's phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Come alone if you want to save your daughter. Attached was a photo, Joss, standing outside the Metro Court earlier that day, completely unaware she was being watched. Carly's heart stopped. She immediately called Sonny. It's him, she said breathlessly. He's got Joss in his sights. He sent me a picture. Sonny's voice turned cold. Stay put. I'll find him. Carly's voice rose. No, I'm going. If he wants me, he'll get me. Before Sonny could argue, she hung up and grabbed her car keys. The drive to the warehouse felt endless. Rain pounded the windshield as Carly's knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. Her mind replayed every moment of Joss's life, her first steps, her laugh, her heartbreaks, all the moments that made her who she was. Carly whispered to herself, Please, God, don't let me lose her. When she arrived, the warehouse loomed in the darkness, its windows shattered, the door slightly ajar. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The air was thick and damp, the sound of dripping water echoing in the distance. Mason, she called out, her voice trembling with rage. I know you're here. Show yourself. A low laugh came from the shadows. I have to say, Carly, I admire your nerve. Mason stepped into the light, gun in hand. You always did have a talent for getting in the middle of things. Carly's eyes flashed. You come near my daughter again, and he cut her off. You'll what? Call Sonny? He's not here to save you this time.